I remember Perry Mason. I'm sure the younger generation doesn't remember Perry, but Perry Mason and Columbo and all those shows. And the interesting thing about those shows is that they were good at what they did. You know, Perry was an excellent lawyer when he was in the courtroom, and Columbo was a great detective. A lot of times in counseling, I come across this issue. One of the biggest issue people reach out to me for is communication, how to improve communication, how to become more effective communicators. And one of the biggest problems that stems from communication or a lack of communication is arguments. You know, people are always arguing. And I'm like, some of the things that people argue about can be petty, but most of the times I found that when people are arguing about petty things, there's usually something bigger. There's this huge elephant in the room and nobody wants to address the elephant. So then they start picking on little things, and those little things add up. And those little things are magnified to be greater than they are when the issue has never been addressed, or they don't even want to touch the issue, so the elephant remains in the room. But why do people argue? Apart from the fact that they're unable to discuss the elephant or the big issues which are, you know, insurmountable at that point, or which will create, you know, fragment their relationships. Why do people argue? People argue because it's becoming common theory or common behavior. People argue because it's the go-to when they cannot be understood or when they don't want to understand. Those are the two reasons why people argue. They're not arguing about the issues. They're arguing because they want to be understood and the other person is refusing to understand them. So this is very simple. I'm not going to wait. You can get it now at the top of the video and watch me right now, and then don't go any further into this video. So the biggest issue when it comes to arguing, and the biggest resolve, the way to resolve the issue of arguing, is to learn to understand each other. Instead of trying to be understood, try to understand the other person's perspective or where they're coming from. In other words, you have to stop in that moment when the argument is starting, and you just say, you know what? I'm going to try to understand my spouse. Instead of me trying to get my point across, I'm going to try to see where they're coming from. Yeah, easier said than done, Ingrid. I know, right? In my own relationships, I've had the same issue. But the truth of the matter is, the moment that I put myself in a position where I try to understand the other person, then it makes my situation and my perspective, it doesn't minimize it, but what it does is it gives me more perspective on how to approach the subject and how to present my point. If you're not listening and you're talking, you can't hear. And if you can't hear, you're not really getting the information that you need to make a really good judgment call. The other thing about arguments and how to stop arguing is this simple thing. If you recognize that arguments are not about emotions, let me say it again. Arguments are not about emotions. Did Perry Mason ever get emotional? Yeah, but every time he got emotional, it was like out of order, the other attorney was trying to shut him down, because the moment emotions enter into the courtroom, there's no longer an argument present. It's tainted. So think about this. Bring the same philosophy to your relationship, whether it's with your children, your significant others, your spouses. Think about this. An argument is supposed to be about facts, simple facts. So when you come to the argument, instead of bringing emotion and you bring facts, then let's hear the facts. What are you really saying about this? What are the facts? What do you want? What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to do this thing? So you're presenting your facts. If you take the emotion out of it, you know what? I'm annoyed. I'm upset. I'm frustrated. I'm tired. I'm stressed. I don't want to hear this. Take all the emotions out of the argument and present just simple facts, and then you both can be heard. But it's one of the most difficult things to do for most of us, because we are emotional. By the time we get to the argument, we're emotional because the other person is not listening. And here's the truth. Nobody can listen if both people are speaking. So one of you needs to be the bigger person and say, you know what, I'm going to try something different. I tried this in my relationship and it was amazing. You know why? Because I said, okay, I'm listening, and it was crickets. Crickets, I tell you. I didn't hear anything because there was nothing to say. It was like you really deflated the other person because they didn't expect you to actually give them what they wanted in that moment, which is your attention, which is you listening to them, which is you paying attention to what they have to say. Try it. These two things, I guarantee you, will work. It will change how you approach each other, and it will change how you engage with each other or your children. Because, you know, sometimes you can be arguing with your children and your child is trying to get your attention or trying to prove a point, and you don't want to hear because a lot of us are not present when we are arguing. Did you know that? When people are arguing, neither one of you is really present. You're both in your feelings. You're both thinking about something else that's going on in your life. And you're both bringing that to the argument, which makes it blow out of proportion. Try these two things today. Write me back, you know, comment on this video and let me know how it works for you. I promise you, I don't guarantee anything. I'm not the guru of these subjects. I'm just proposing things that may help you work through your relationship. Remember, instead of trying to be understood, try to understand the other person. And instead of arguing with emotional based arguments, take the emotion out of it and come to the conversation with an open mind, an open heart, and the opportunity to resolve by acknowledging the facts without your emotions turning everything out of proportion. Okay? Try it and let me know how it works. My name is Ingrid Felton. Thank you as always for visiting my YouTube channel. Please subscribe, like the videos, tell others about what I'm doing here. I provide a lot of this for my clients and for other people who are interested in, you know, getting some idea of, you know, how I think and how I think about things. I'm just pretty much sharing my perspective with you. And your feedback is always welcome. Thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to your continued support. Visit www.ingridfelton.com if you want to reach out to me or you want more information about what I do. Thanks. Bye-bye.